I have a purpose in life right now to spread this awareness and this biohacking blueprint so that people can heal their bodies completely from within. Because I have seen the other extreme of health. I am a surgeon, so I have seen the extremities of all those things. So leaky gut is where there are holes in our gut lining. If any product doesn't go through the gut bacteria and directly goes into the immune system, into your bloodstream, that will cause a lot of inflammation, lot of immune system reaction in our bodies. Nobody in the entire longevity industry is actually talking about is people who can hold their breath for under 30 seconds is equal to anxiety, equals to poorer focus. I believe in Ayurveda, it is traditional science, healing through things which don't cause side effects rather than pharmacological chemical medicine which cause a lot of side effects. What is the root cause of all chronic lifestyle disease? The most common of which is...
So what are the biggest gut health killers in the modern world? What things destroy the gut the most? Welcome to episode 1 of the BioPulse Podcast. My name is Jordan, and I'm the founder of BioPulse. This podcast is about diving deep into the health and wellness rabbit hole, uncovering hidden truths, challenging conventional thinking, and exploring powerful practices that can have a real impact on how we live and age. Today, I'm joined by Dr. Arpit Bansal. Dr. Bansal is a surgeon, hospital director, biohacker, and longevity educator from India, with more than 15 years of experience in advanced laparoscopic surgery. He's also the founder of the 4 Bodies Blueprint, a biohacking framework that blends modern science with ancient wisdom to help people thrive physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. His philosophy, what he calls Medicine 3.0, is about moving beyond treating symptoms and instead focusing on root causes, prevention, and optimization. He's also deeply committed to what he calls aging energetically and living his best life as an example for anyone who is ready to thrive. Dr. Bansal, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much, Jordan, for inviting me on this podcast. And I'm thrilled to be here. And as you have beautifully introduced me, I call myself the Aquaman Biohacker. And though I'm a cancer surgeon by profession, I'm a gut specialist. But all these years working in the traditional medicine, running a hospital, I found that root cause healing is still missing in the people's mind. And that is why I devised this 4-body blueprint. And to dive deep, let's go ahead.
Awesome. I think for the people who aren't familiar with who you are, can you just give a bit of an explanation into your background and the work you do?
Yes. So I'm a trained cancer surgeon and I'm a gut specialist. And I run also a 100 to 200 bedded hospital here in India. And I'm the director of the hospital also. So in India, health situation is not that great. And people in generally the health is very disease centric approach for India. And I think even outside India, many people just consider health as a very disease centric entity. They say that I have this disease, so I have to cure this disease. If I don't have any disease, so they try and label themselves automatically as healthy. But health is so much more than just being disease centric. And true health is where you can all thrive, we can perform, we can evolve, and we can keep flowing in life. And so that is why my personal journey of health optimization comes into place. A couple of 3 years back actually, I am still very happy with my practice as a surgeon, as a gut specialist. But sadly, the root cause healing is missing. And healing also depends on working, as we'll talk about lately, the 4 bodies. And unless until we heal those 4 bodies completely, we cannot optimize our health. So I'm trying to merge the holistic healing with my clinical patients also. And not everybody is ready in India as of yet to dive deep into their health. Root cause healing requires a lot of proactive medicine, proactive testing. That is the medicine 3.0 approach. So you do a lot of testing and you biohack your body. That means you attack your problems before they arise. In our current lifestyle, most of our diseases, including cancer, including gut issues, are linked to inflammation and external stresses in our lives. And that is ultimately we need to reduce them and we need to work on them. And in the life era which we are living, you cannot say, unless until you are a monk living in the forest and you isolate yourself, stress is going to be a natural part of our lives. So the thing which we can actually train is resilience, so that when you have that stress, your body can be resilient or adaptable and then bounce back strongly. And so that we can just not be healthy, we can thrive. and we can flow in life. My mantra, which will towards the end I will say, is go with the flow.
Well, I think that's my biggest issue with Western medicine is that there's a much higher focus on treating symptoms rather than trying to target the root cause of an illness or a health condition. What's your opinion on why that might be the case?
See, there are, first of all, before we jump into that, let's see that, for example, the medicine 2.0 approach, medicine 1.0 approach, I would say, like when we were all like in the 1950s, when there were no advent of antibiotics. So we used to do like nature healing, and whenever there was a wound, we used to let nature heal it, and we used to wash it with water and some herbs and etc. etc. And that time our lifespan was pretty low, and people used to die within the age of 30, 40, 50s. Then when we had invented antibiotics, we took care in one shot, and then the antibiotic industry has been evolving, ever evolving since that. We took care of dying from infectious causes, but that is the medicine 2.0, like the acute trauma medicine. So medicine 2.0 is still amazing in treating lots of infectious diseases, and also for trauma. For example, if anybody has a road traffic accident, he's broken like 14 bones and he has a brain hemorrhage. So medicine 2.0 is great with the CT scans, with the neurosurgeon required for a brain bleed, or fractures can be repaired by orthopedic surgeons. It is still great results. But in our current lifestyle, when we dive into the medicine 3.0, is the approach where we were talking about chronic lifestyle diseases like diabetes, obesity, then dementias, then all the cardiovascular issues, to an extent of cancer also. But cancer, sometimes the medicine 3.0 approach heals the cancer superficially, but to heal the cancer deeply, we need the medicine 3.0 approach. So 3.0 approach is the best approach for the lifestyle issues. As you rightly said, diabetes, for example, when you go to a doctor, he tells you that you have diabetes, you change your lifestyle, but you need to have this medicine for lifetime. Same is with hypertension. Prescribe you a medicine to lower your BP rather than working why the BP got high in the first place. Same is with dementias or Parkinsonism or all the neurodegenerative diseases. We don't have answers, and we just curb and suppress the symptoms. Symptoms, I believe, are the body's ways of talking to you, or expressing their issues. So instead, we should try and focus on treating them from the root cause. And you ask, why is it we are still dependent on the medicines right now? Because when medicine arose, with the invent of antibiotics and with the invent of chemical understanding the chemical structure of our body, we know that we have receptors. For example, if somebody has depression, we give something called as SSRI, serotonin reuptake inhibitors. So it blocks those receptors, and it increases the serotonin in our brain, that is the happiness hormone. So it takes care of the depression. But with the detailed study about biochemistry, about understanding the receptors, we kept on inventing newer chemical or the pharmacological products, and the medicine is driven by the big pharma, and there is lots of money in the medicines. So that
Yes.
is why it is continuously being driven by the big pharma. But now with the invent, there is energy healing right now, and so apart from these receptors, our brain, our gut, our infection, inflammation markers, the chemical industry, the pharma industry does play a role. But many things can be treated by working through energy medicine, by calming yourself down, by trying to be in your blue mind state. We'll talk about it more and more in the calmer state than the continuous rush and of life. So currently, like all these chronic lifestyle diseases, be it cardiovascular issues, or be it in like hypertension, diabetes, obesity, cancer, dementias, what is the root cause of all chronic lifestyle disease? It is inflammation at the bottom of it, and that is directly caused by some or the other stress in our environment. The most common of which is our inflammatory diets. So that and we need to understand and undo that if we want to really unfold the true healing.
Yes. All right, cool. I want to get into the biohacking the four bodies blueprint. Can you firstly explain the philosophy behind the four bodies blueprint? And then we'll go into each one specifically and break them down.
So, like we are doctors and people come to us for health. And we as a society have been conditioned that we are just one body, take care of it, nurture it. So but I went ahead and broke those four bodies into the four elemental bodies rather than one bodies. So I believe that there are, I just don't believe you once you hear the blueprint, you will also believe, because it's a very logical thing that we are four different bodies. The first body is the physical body, because once we die, our physical human body literally goes back to the earth. So the first body is the physical body or the earth body. And when we talk about health, when we talk about health optimization, when we talk about trying to make our health life better, we most people are sadly limited to our physical body. And the second body, first I'll brief the bodies and then we can dive deep into each of the bodies. So physical body, there are 5 main key biohacks. I will come to it, where we can do about biohacking or trying to be the best version of ourselves physically. Then our second body is the water body or the emotional body, because like water and emotions both flow inside of us and even outside of us. So we need to biohack our emotional body also. And again, that has some pointers. We'll come very soon that into it. Then the third body, which is our air or the mental body, because our thoughts, which are actually in the air. And scientists, they tried a lot of things to pinpoint the area of the brain where our thoughts are, but the thoughts are cannot be pinpointed with the latest MRIs, latest machinery. They cannot be pointed to one particular area of the brain, and they are the something called as a super consciousness. So the thoughts are actually in the air, and how we can biohack it, we'll talk about it. And the fourth body is the fire body or the spiritual body. So these all things are connected, and I'm very excited to be talking about it.
I think it's such a powerful system because, like you said, people think of themselves as just one body. But when you break it down into the elemental four bodies, it opens up a world to target different aspects. So, like you said, with the physical body, you can target nutrition and then breath
Absolutely.
work and meditation.
Also at the onset, sorry to cut you down, but
No,
also
that's fine.
would say that these four bodies, hearing from me, you might seem that I'm going on a spiritual dimension. But trust me, all these four bodies, I have demonstrated like 5 biohacks, and they are all hardcore science backed. I am spiritual. I am a spiritual person also. This biohacking blueprint is all about deep science backed biohacking.
Okay, cool. So you said you have 5 biohacks for each body, correct?
Yes.
Perfect. Let's dive into it. So with the earth body, the physical body, how can someone optimize their earth body?
So there are the 5 points for our earth body. Is starts with hydration. That's the first biohack is hydration or water. And when we talk about hydration or water, we sadly limit again to the superficial hydration. But I talk about cellular hydration. So the first biohack for your body is cellular hydration. And I am a person who believes that there are no synchronicities, no coincidences in life, only synchronicities. And since we say that there are no coincidences, the fact that the planet Earth is 70% water and our human body is also 70% water, it's a big stark coincidence right in our faces. So that this is how my journey actually started. So water is the root of everything in our bodies, in our life, like all the cellular process which happens in our body, from any biomechanical process, be it a heartbeat, be it a respiration, our lungs breathing, or be it our immune system working, or be it our brains thinking. At a cellular level, either water is moving inside the cell or outside the cell through sodium potassium channels and various channels. So the biohack is cellular hydration. Obviously, so I am this is my molecular hydrogen water bottle. This is one example of that. But ultimately, obviously, you need to consume the right quality of foods. Hydration is also consuming water to the fruits and vegetables, right? Electrolytes, and you would be surprised to know that that's just 2% drop in your body hydration levels can make you perform 20% less by your mental equity and your physical performance, and that too without you realizing it. So that's how the power of water is in our body. So there are lots of ways where we can cellularly keep our bodies hydrated, and I believe that when you are cellularly hydrated, you peak perform. your immunity is at your peak, your DNA repair mechanism is at your peak, your liver detoxification is at your peak, your kidneys are at your peak, your gut health is at your peak. So everything works at your perfect optimum level if you have your hydration in place. That was number one. Then the number 2 point for our physical body is our gut health. In gut health, obviously we have to talk about what we eat, but taking from the conversation which we started, that the root cause of healing is inflammation, and our gut health is should be actually looked as a gut microbiome diversity. So I always say that the whatever is inside our gut, you should picture like a true it's like a rainforest. I'm sure the listeners and you, we have visited a forest every
Yes,
semi time.
yes.
So when you go to a forest, there are some big trees, there are some small trees, there are some bushes, there are some ferns, there are some mushrooms, some fungi, some small trees also. So that's exactly what's the scenario. And all of them live in a harmony, in a symbiotic relationship with each other. And there are nothing called as good thing or bad thing. So in nature and in the whenever whenever we are living in a super organism, things like that, you little bit of bad is balanced by the good, so that is okay. So same is with our gut health. We need to keep our diversity of our gut higher. For example, from our childhood we are conditioned that bacteria is bad, but there are trillions of good bacteria in our gut, specifically in our gut, also in our skin and hair and other places, but gut is the main area, and this is our first line defense. So whenever you eat something in gut, we talk about superfoods. For example, avocado is a superfood, polyphenols or berries are superfoods, then oats people say is a superfood. But I believe like everybody's gut is a very individualized approach, and there is a, you may call it that there is a different set of bacteria to digest each and every food which we consume. For example, if you eat an avocado, there is a set of bacteria which breaks down the avocado and helps you absorb all the good fats. And if you don't have that good set of bacteria, an avocado can cause bloating to you. So then, quote unquote, an avocado can be an inflammatory food for you. So it all depends on your personal gut microbiome. So it is a very personalized thing. Any nutritionist, any dietitian you go and they give you a set of diet, it may work, it may not work, because ultimately it depends on what good bacteria is there on your gut.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest issue people have is they try to do exactly what someone else is doing and what works for them. But like you said, it's health is a very individualized thing that you have to trial and error and see what works for you and what doesn't work for you.
So when we, for example, consume any food which is so-called inflammatory, and we don't have the right set of bacteria to digest that food, our bodies are beautifully designed, and the slight sense of bloating, the slight sense of gastritis, the slight sense of pain. So our bodies always gives you whispers or signals that this whatever you consumed is not suiting for you or is inflammatory for you. But what happens is we usually don't listen to that whispers, and that whispers slowly grow into screams of cancers, of IBS, of other diseases, and then we notice and then visit a doctor. So the important thing of this, following this 4 body blueprints at the starting only, is you have to be really aware of your body and train your mind and your body to listen to the small whispers which your body will always give you.
One term that comes up a lot online is leaky gut. And
Yes.
that floats around everywhere online. Can you explain what leaky gut is and how it can affect your health?
So leaky gut is basically when you think of our gut lining. Gut lining is probably even thinner than our skin lining. When suppose our skin is thick, you get injury, you get a cut. There is a lot of layers in our skin, but our true gut lining is only just single layer thick. So it's just a single cell thick, and that is guarded by our bacteria, then other other fungi and other mucopolysaccharides, some mucus which is secreted by our villi of our intestines. So leaky gut is where there are holes in that in our gut lining, and suppose you consume any product, it directly goes into our bloodstream. So then, so as you can believe that the first line of defense is our gut bacteria, and the second line of defense is our immune system. So if any product doesn't go through the gut bacteria and directly goes into the immune system, into your bloodstream, then that will cause a lot of inflammation, lot of immune system reaction in our bodies, and that is one of the root causes of leaky gut.
So, what are the biggest gut health killers in the modern world? What things destroy the gut the most?
It's sugar, sugar, sugar.
Sugar.
Yeah,
Yes.
is the worst. And there is one thing which everyone should avoid is processed sugar. And sugar is only allowed and should be consumed in like fruits and the naturally occurring fruits or naturally occurring sugars. But you should again avoid juices. You should consume the fruit with the fiber, because our brains definitely need the sugar, but it also needs the fiber so that our metabolic systems don't get fired too much. And sugars are the root causes of inflammation also. So sugar is the biggest number one gut killer. And apart from that, alcohol obviously is bad, because again it messes, as I already told you, that our gut lining is very, very thin and very, very delicate, and alcohol literally messes with that.
What about stress? How does stress impact the gut?
Stress is the biggest, because we were talking about stress. And when we talk about stress, we usually think about stress in our brains, right? But our
Mm.
gut, here is how our gut is directly linked to stress, because of the gut brain connection. And this is my favorite part, because there is a nerve called as the vagal nerve, which runs from our gut, and it is connects to our brain. And that nerve has a unique property, and it is like the unlike any other nerve in our body. It is a dual channel nerve. So it whatever you feel in the gut, like inflammation in our gut through inflammatory foods, it gives you signals to your brain, and vice versa. So, for example, if you eat a chocolate, you get good feeling, because eating a chocolate increases serotonin levels, which is our happiness hormones. And through our vagal nerve, it is conducted to our brain to be happy. Same is with inflammation. So, like anxiety, depression, all the stress ultimately which leads to in your brain is directly linked to your gut. And I'm a gut specialist, so many people come to me with gut issues, with constipation, with gastritis. And when I talk deeply to them, they usually have some underlying sleep issues, they usually have some underlying anxiety issues, and vice versa. There are some people who come for anxiety and for sleep issues. And if you work on their gut, their sleep issues and anxiety issues automatically calm down, because once you activate the parasympathetic nerve, which we were talking about, the vagal nerve, it calms you down. So gut is the root center how stress affects your body in the long run.
Okay, so if someone is listening and they know that their gut health isn't really right, they've got bloating, irritation, what are the things that you would tell them to either eat or supplements to take to start getting their gut on the right track again?
See, fixing gut health is not a one pill solution. Fixing gut health is a deeper solution. So, working on all these 20 biohacks, which for four different bodies, will ultimately help you reset your gut, because gut is about, we'll talk about other biohacks coming, we are just talking about. But for example, there is no single supplement for anybody who's suffering with bloating or any other issues. They should know that gut health is a very individualized approach. So we again have to start from the basics: hydration and listening to our bodies, because your doctor might tell you to have milk or avoid milk or do anything, but it is your gut. And as I told you, from our childhood days, what we eat, our gut will give you symptoms. So try to listen to what your gut responds to, how you feel when you eat something the next day, and maybe probably even 48 hours after that. And also your gut health, the key is you cannot improve your gut health by just nutrition or bus hydration. You have to sleep. Your sleep is a very powerful thing where gut resets, because your liver is also connected to your gut, and your liver is the main detoxifying organs. So like it is impossible to say that we can avoid all stresses in our lives, or similarly it is impossible to say that we can avoid all inflammatory foods in our diet, because we consume so many things all across, and there are so many additives, so many and inflammatory things. So once you sleep, your body resets, your liver detoxifies, and so it's a holistic approach. And there are definitely some supplements like the pre-probiotics which everybody should take. if your gut is not healthy. But again, it's not a universal phenomena. People who have some issues may need to modify which supplements. One important supplement where I can want to talk about here is vitamin D. And vitamin D, people believe that it's for our bone health, but vitamin D is very, very crucial for our gut health also, because it directly feeds the good bacteria which live in our colon, to name a few, like Akkermansia.
How does antibiotics affect the gut? Because this is, I think, a pretty controversial topic online.
Yeah, yeah. So may I know which country are you based?
Australia.
Yeah, Australia. So actually, I asked that because in India, antibiotic nuisance, as we already talked, when antibiotics were discovered in like 50 years back, that time antibiotics were good. But right now, biggest example is COVID. COVID was a viral disease, but in India specifically, and even across the globe, many people popped azithromycin, which is a antibacterial drug. So antibiotics are essential to treat infections, but you have to be very cautious when taking antibiotics, because obviously they kill the bad bacteria, but they also kill the good bacteria.
Yes.
And as we already were talking about the good bacteria, they are the first line defense. So, first of all, we need to take antibiotics only under the supervision of a doctor, so that they can guide and treat specific antibiotics. And plus, with the good pharma products coming, the wide spectrum antibiotics, and so which antibiotics which kill different types of bacteria. That is the wide spectrum antibiotics. So you should not pop a pill for any loose motion or viral infections, specifically the antibiotics pills. And that is, I don't know what's the thing in, but even though Australia, UK, they are pretty strict in their antibiotic policies, and but India is not at all strict, and lots of antibiotics are available over the counter, and that explains why even the younger generation is suffering from a lot of anxiety issues, because again, for smaller viral infections, for diarrheal infections, for cough and all those things, they routinely prescribe antibiotics, and they messes their gut with their good gut bacteria, leading to bad gut brain connection and leading to anxiety, sleep issues, and overall low immunity in general.
Let's transition to some of the biohacks for the water body.
So let me just name the other three for the
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, for sure.
Or the third one is the VO2 max. So whenever we talk about physical health, we obviously have to talk about exercise, though exercise was invented by us. And when we talk about all these four biohacking blueprint, and you will come understand when I go ahead, like I always give the analogy that when we humans used to live in the forest, when we were hunter gatherers, when we used to live in the jungles, we used to be very natural, and we used to like wake up with the sun's rhythm. We used to wake up when the sun used to wake us up with the first light of our sun. And then movement was a natural part of our lives. We used to move kilometers, run and chase animals, and climb trees to cut out some fruits. And movement was a natural part of our lives. But in our current life, we made our lives very, very comfortable, and like with a click of a button, the food can come to your doorstep, literally. We had to invent the term exercise, so that because humans realize that movement have to be there to keep us healthy. So when we talk about exercise, it is divided into three things, and these three things all of us have to do on a regular basis, not every day maybe, but in a cyclical basis. And the important thing is VO2 max training. That is the training your cardiorespiratory system and how much oxygen you can consume. One is your endurance training or your cardiorespiratory training. That is biohacking. You have to measure your VO2 max and try to improve your VO2 max as per your age. Then the second training is of your muscles. Muscle strength is so damn important that if you're not training them, then after 40 you are losing them. And if you're losing your muscle, then you are opening your exposures to risk of various other things, specifically falls during old age, and then there is no coming back. So you can't talk about longevity or healthy living after 60 or 70 if you haven't trained your muscle. And the third is your flexibility. So these three have to be worked on. And the last point for the earth body is sleep. We briefly touched it.
Yeah.
It is a very important biohack, and it's a most free biohack for everybody. And ironically, everybody's because of laptops, screens, so much noise, parties, we are messed up with the normal circadian rhythm of our bodies. And again, the analogy, when we used to be in jungles after sunset, we used to probably light a fire, cook our dinner, and then go to bed because we didn't have our phones, we didn't have YouTube, Instagram, or distractions to keep us awake in the night.
That's so true. Like these days, people will be on their phone with the blue light, ruining their sleep, and then they wonder why they have no energy, why their guts all messed up, why they have
Exactly. And
anxiety and all these things.
absolutely. So then let's transition to the water body now. So once your body is strong and fueled, the next mastery is over our emotions, because as I already told, water doesn't just flow outside of us, it flows inside of us in all our cells. So here is my most important concept about is the blue mind and the red mind. So you can equate there are different nervous systems in our body. One is the voluntary nervous system, like I'm making a fist with my hand. So this is under my voluntary control. I can punch with my voluntary control. But I walk in with my involuntary thing. I don't think about each and every step. So our involuntary system is trained by two things. One is our sympathetic system, or our drive system, or our system which makes us do things. It's is good actually. And the other is the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the system which makes us calm. For example, we are like in a forest and a tiger comes right next to us. So that time we need to activate our sympathetic, or our red minds, or stress mind, or also called as the fight and flight response. And so we will activate that and we will run and we'll do whatever, even if it is 2 in the night, even if we are in our dark sleep and we hear a roar of a tiger, we'll suddenly wake up and we'll run and we'll protect ourselves and our loved ones. Contrastingly, the blue mind, so our heart rate goes up when the red mind is activated. And contrastingly, the blue mind is the state where we activate our parasympathetic nervous system, the same system which is activated by the vagal nerve, which is linked to the gut brain connection, since we talked about that. And that nerve or that activation calms our heart rate down and brings you in a calmer state. So breathing, meditation, lots of ways to calm yourselves down. And so I will say blue mind is a mildly meditative state, which is a state of happiness, calmness, peacefulness, a sense of happiness in the present moment, which happens when all humans achieve this state when we are near water, underwater, around water, or over water on a boat, or just sitting on a beach, or probably just listening to the sound of water, or even probably on our walls there's a hanging a picture of a blue mine scene, ocean scene. So that automatically triggers those neurochemicals in our brain to calm ourselves down. That is the power of our water. And since our 70% of our bodies are water, 80% of your brain is made up of water actually. So that is the most calming philosophy to activate. And so this is our most important thing to, and obviously it has to exist in balance. So you have to balance your blue mind with our red minds. But sadly, the era which we are living in, we get up in the morning, first of all, with alarm clocks, with lots of notification. As soon as we get up, we check our phones, WhatsApp, ping, 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 then Instagram, then YouTube notification, etc., etc. And we are always running in life. We are in what we call as a task-based network. We have to complete this, we have to reach there, drive there, money issues, etc., etc. But rather, longevity happens when we are in a relaxed state, when we are in the default brain network. This is the network where we connect to the universal consciousness, to nature, and we just be and just grateful to live and just breathe without any agenda in mind. And this is the same state where children, specifically in schools, they daydream. So daydreaming is the same state where your alpha waves are activated in your brain, and you just let the thoughts come into you. You can master the balance between the blue mind and the red mind, which then with the next point for the water body is the HRV mastery, or heart rate variability mastery. So we were saying that we were discussing about stress and anxiety and all the inflammation ultimately causing aging, also causing cancer, also, and causing all the gut issues also. So there is something called as heart rate variability, which is a parameter. I'm a crazy biohacker, so I measure with these rings. This is the Aura ring. This is a ultra human ring, Gabbit ring. Gabbit is a very Indian company which is great, doing great these days. and obviously the Whoop band, the Apple Watch. So all these, they help you measure how much your heart rate rises in terms of stress and in terms of physical endurance, for example running, and how much it calms down when you are breathing. For example, there is a mode in Whoop called as the stage mode, stage performance mode. So whenever I go for my stage talks, I switch on that mode on, and after the talk I come and see it, that whether I was anxious at some time, whether my heart rate was rising. But since now I've been doing this quite often, so my heart rate stays steady and stable because I have become resilient and I've trained it. So coming to ice baths, so when you do ice baths, that's how one of the master ways to train your heart rate variability. Again, it's not simple heart rate, it's how variable your heart rates are, and it's a difficult parameter to measure, but it measures resilience, and not just your physical resilience, your emotional resilience, your mental resilience, and your spiritual resilience as well. When you can jump or go into an ice plunge at 0 degrees or 4 5 degrees, I have a protocol which I guide people how to start ice baths, specifically who are scared of cold plunges. And if you can slowly make your bodies adaptable and resilient, and because it's obviously not easy to go into cold
Yeah.
water, extreme
Yeah.
cold water, but that releases cold shock proteins. And if you contrast with saunas, then that also releases heat shock proteins. So ultimately, they make your body resilient. And so I'll tell you my personal experience. I was always a overachiever in life. Last 3 years back, also I was doing so many things. I'm a bird watcher also. I am a ocean conservationist. I talk about nature conservation also. But I was always running in life, and a lot of issues happened when there was stresses in my life. But by constantly doing ice baths, I have become a much calmer person inside. And now, being a surgeon, being a doctor, there are external stresses all around me, like patients who are critical, about to die. And apart from that, emotional stress is a part of our lives everywhere, because we have some family issues, we have children to take care, we have trauma issues of our all around way. So when you do ice baths, you set boundaries for yourself, and so now I become so calm that my external world, anything is happening, it cannot affect my inner peace. That's the level of calmness which you can train specifically with the use of ice baths.
Yeah, I think specifically putting yourself into the situation where it's an intense stress for the body and you're forced to stay calm and control yourself, it has impacts in the rest of your life. Like you said, you're doing ice baths, and then you're calmer when you're doing surgery and
Yes, yes.
handling the daily stress in your life. You briefly mentioned meditation, and I feel like that also ties into what you were just saying. But I'm really interested to hear you talk about underwater meditation. Like you mentioned earlier, you got the nickname the Aquaman Biohacker. Can you
Yes, yes.
explain to people how underwater meditation is different from normal meditation?
So I believe like water has the potential to open quantum realms also, and that is actually now I'm upgrading the 4 body blueprint to make it a 5 body blueprint, and that is the fifth body is the quantum realm, or our quantum body, or our astral body, which some people call it. So when I do underwater meditation, when I dive under the water, everything stills down, because I have been meditating all throughout my life, different forms of meditation. You can do box breathing, you can do transcendental meditation, you can do power of now breathing and meditation, etc., etc. But what is unique about underwater meditation, it's a extremely sensory deprivation meditation. So there is no sound, there is there is nothing, there is just water everywhere. And so I wear a weight belt, I have my scuba tank, and I go under the on the base of the swimming pool, and I sit for 30 minutes, and I have measured my heart rate variability, and it spikes through the roof like it is like no other
Really?
activity. That's what really happens, and it just calms you down, and it brings you in the immediate moment, and you have to focus on your breath, and you take your breath obviously through the scuba tank. So that is actually the eighth point, is breath work about water body, emotions body. If you're going through any stressful situation in life, just breathe deeply for 2 minutes and you will automatically calm down.
Yeah, I think breathwork something, and specifically meditation, something I've implemented a lot over the last couple of years, and it's helped tremendously. And I feel like breathwork in particular is becoming a lot more popular these days with the rise of different people talking about it on different podcasts, and it's powerful because it can have such a quick impact on how it calms your body down, right?
Absolutely. So the other points for the water body was gratitude. Obviously, emotional body, you have to do gratitude journaling. And when you do gratitude journaling, actually rewires your emotions. And the last point is nature therapy. When you go in nature, outdoors, it actually releases some chemicals called as phytoncides, which actually double your immunity. So every day, people who are going in nature, they automatically have higher immunity because of those natural chemicals which get released in your body. When the emotions settle in the like a still lake, the mind clears, and that's when we begin shaping our air body, our thoughts, our focus, and our imagination. And the number one here is which you were talking about a lot: meditation. So meditation and alpha state practices. And for example, there is a protocol as NSDR, or non-sleep deep rest. So we talked about sleep a little bit. Everybody needs minimum 8 hours of sleep every day. But for example, due to some reasons, you could sleep only 5 hours or 6 hours a day. There is a protocol called as non-sleep deep rest meditation protocol. The famous ones are from Andrew Huberman. Anybody can Google it. He has a very good protocol which is for around 20 minutes. And once you do it, takes you in that alpha mind state. It talks about perception, because pain or stress, everything is perception ultimately. So just 20 minutes of that session equals to the reset of your body by close to an hour of time,
Wow.
hour of sleep. So that is how powerful meditations can be.
I've actually experimented with non-sleep deep rest, and they are very, very,
And
very
it's
powerful.
I'm from India, so it's the same as the yoga nidra. When also in yoga nidra protocol is also very
Yes.
similar. So I'm just mentioning some of the protocols. These are other similar things also going on. Then the other points for the air body is working on your neuroplasticity, learning new skills, literally builds new neural connections, and it is like the ultimate anti-aging tool for your brain. Like I am learning Spanish these days. So you need to do something which is outside your comfort zone, which you don't know anything about. And then there is the 13th point is reading a book. So sometimes reading a book just for 10 minutes. I'll show you which book I'm reading these days. This is my favorite, and it's called Life on the Edge.
Life on
The
the edge.
the coming age of quantum biology, and this is a game changer of a book. So that is why I showed to our listeners.
I'm gonna have to start reading that one.
Yeah. It's amazing. And so reading books are like mental weights. And if you lift them daily, you become sharper and a stronger brain. And I would suggest everybody like take 10 minutes out daily to read about, obviously, which you are curious about, but which you have no idea about. Not the topics which you are expert about. You should keep reading in those fields also, but something new to spark the new neural connections. And another point in our air body biohack, which is missing and nobody in the entire longevity industry is actually talking about, is your CO2 tolerance. So once you hold your breath, also underwater, or also we can just take in a deep breath and just stop our breath. So people, what happens actually after 20 seconds or 30 seconds for most people, you start feeling uneasiness. And there is that uneasy panic feeling that, oh, I need air. So it is not because of lack of oxygen. It is because of your CO2 building up in your body. And it is your body's and your brain's relationship with CO2 that makes you quicker, that makes you perform better. So for example, people who can hold their breath for 30 or under 30 seconds, they have poorer focus. So low CO2 tolerance, like can hold your breath for lesser duration, equal to quick breathlessness, is equal to anxiety, equals to poorer focus. And contrastingly high CO2 tolerance. So I have trained this, anybody can train this. I started with 30 seconds and now I can hold my breath for 3 minutes. And people who have high CO2 tolerance, who can do breath holding for longer durations, they are calm under pressure, and they have sharper thinking, and they have better stamina and better focus. So slowing down your breath is like speeding up your brain. So training CO2 tolerance is like your secret weapon for your mental longevity.
So, would you say the Wim Hof breathing method trains that CO2 tolerance?
And yeah. So Wim Hof has lots of breathing. I am a big follower of Wim Hof. Wim Hof's daughter Laura is a friend also, and we keep exchanging some brainstorming some friends things. So he has devised lots of prone, and again, so CO2 tolerance can be paired with ice baths, ice plunges. So I usually, what happens is, it is important to it is easier to hold your breath longer if your heart rate is lower. So if you should club those CO2 training activities, breath holding, or your Wim Hof breathing practices in and around or your cold plunges. Because in cold plunges, if somebody is doing for the first time, obviously due to panic, the heart rate will rise again. But like a experienced person, or if you do it regularly during the ice plunges, cold bath session, your heart rate will go down. So when your heart rate is low around, for me, it goes around to 40, 44, but for most people, it will be around 50, 60. So that time, if you train your breathing protocol by Wim Hof or by anybody else, you can then probably hold for longer, and ultimately you'll come out with a sharper mind.
Yeah, interesting. I'm going to have to start doing that again because I was doing the Wim Hof breathing for quite a while and I've stopped. So thank you. That's my sign to start doing it again. Now, you also have digital detox as part of the air body. Why is
Yeah.
that important?
That is again very important in this life, because digital reset is again, so we were talked about notifications. Like being a doctor, I get phone calls, WhatsApp, queries all across. But I have made it a protocol that apart from my working 10 to 12 hours, my phone is on do not disturb. And even during my working hours, I keep it without off all notifications, because notifications is a flow breaker. If you are not is a, we'll talk about flow in the fire body, but flow state is the most sacred state. And if it is a state where you immerse yourself into the activity and you just do it with full attention, with full passion. But if you are constantly distracted by notifications, by WhatsApp, by Instagram, by watching our emails again and again, so this digital detox, ideally at least one day of a week you should live without your phones, but that is not practically possible. So minimum digital detox has to be, once you get up in the morning, first 2 hours and at least the last hour of your day before going to bed should be without any digital devices. So I have like a spare phone in which I keep it on the airplane mode for my affirmations, for my audible. I read a lot in the morning. I listen to audio podcasts, audio books. So that is still okay, but not engaging in distracting activities like Instagram, WhatsApp, not replying your WhatsApp message. To make it a point, like for example, if anybody getting up and then the what's my protocol is, I get up at around 6 o'clock or 5:30, and I don't look at my WhatsApp before 9 or 10 o'clock.
I think that's something most people are struggling with today is focus and lack of attention, lack of being able to stay in what you're saying, the flow state.
These Google, these Instagram, all these companies, they actually mint money for every second they grab your attention. So it's not, what you said is actually bang on. And I read a book called by Johan Harari. He's again a beautiful writer, called Stolen Focus. So our attention span, which is lagging in our generations, is not something our fault. Everybody thinks they go to coffees, shots of coffees to get their attention span back, to get their focus span back. But it is actually being stolen by us, by constant notifications, by constant pushing to click here. And then when you search something about on Google, you start with something, and 1 hour later you will see, you will go to something else which is far away from the point. So this is how they have trained the system, because they actually mint money the more eyes are there per second on their screens or on our phones. So that is why we have to protect our attention span if you have to stay focused.
The social media algorithms are designed to keep you on the app, so they're designed to take away your attention. So I think, like you said, a practical protocol of keeping your phone on do not disturb or airplane mode or something like that, and just spending a few hours a day, just,
At
whether
least.
it's doing meditation or trying to stay in that flow state, I think is really helpful.
So now we jump to our fire body. When our mind is sharp and calm, the final ignition happens. The fire body, where purpose, spirit, and the inner energy comes alive. The points where I mention here are purpose. For example, I have a purpose in life right now to spread this awareness and this biohacking blueprint so that people can heal their bodies completely from within. And being a doctor, when it comes from a doctor, I am hoping that people will take it more seriously, because I have seen the other extreme of health. I have seen the pill prescription. I am a surgeon, so I have seen the extremities of all those things. So find your why, and by talking to yourself, by questioning yourself, by contemplating what you want in life, and once you find your why, you automatically extend your life by 7 to 10 years. This is science speaking, because even taking away from your economical background, your social background, your nutrition background, if you have a why in your life, you are directly extending your life.
Yeah, I think what happens a lot of the time is that when someone retires after a long career, sometimes they go downhill very quickly and
Yes,
and
yes.
pass away a few years later or a few months later after they retire because they've lost their purpose.
Why is this that we have conditioned that we have only one job, and once we retire, there is no purpose in life? Again, this is a human made protocol that you can only do one thing in your life. You can do so, every one of us can do so many things in our lives. We limit, it's a limited mindset, and mindset is everything. And that's a limited mindset that I am a doctor, so I can only do things related to doctor. So I'm a bird watcher also, I'm a scuba diver also, I conserve the planet. I'm a international speaker also. I speak at various conferences. So you can do, and everybody can. I'm a marathon runner also. I run marathons. I'm probably training for the Ironman next year in Denmark. So the next point in our fire body is fasting. And it is so curious that most of our religious tradition, be it Hinduism, be it Muslim, be it Christian, they have some other thing related to fasting. And like eat not intermittent fasting is definitely a great thing also, but at a cellular level, what does fasting does, it triggers something called as cellular autophagy, our cellular debris cleaning mechanism. And just a 24-hour fast, maybe once a month also, can boost your cellular autophagy by 300%. So your toxicity will automatically clear. It will clear your emotional and mental clutter, and it will sharpen your fire. So fasting is not a religious activity. It may also be a religious activity, but it is a scientifically detoxing activity. And you can be smart by clubbing it with saunas and with other detoxifying activities.
I do a 36-hour fast once a month or once every 2 months. You mentioned intermittent fasting. What length of fasts do you recommend people do? Like, do you recommend people do longer fasts, like 3-day fast, 4-day fast a few times a year, or?
I think for most people, up to 24 hours fast a month is good enough for us scientifically to reset our cellular autophagy. But intermittent fasting is where we increase our metabolic flexibility, and that is one of the root causes of working against any of the lifestyle diseases, be it obesity, be it diabetes. So for most people, 12 to 16 hours of intermittent fasting every day is great. I always believe that in terms of diet, in terms of fasting, you should not be extreme, and you should do things which you can continue for life. Like there is no protocol that I have to lose weight. Anything extreme or anything which you rebound, the weight also rebounds or the metabolism also rebounds. So anything in like I've been on persistent 14-hour intermittent fasting for like I don't know how many years now.
What do you feel like is the most beneficial part of fasting apart from the detox? Do you get more mental clarity, more
But
energy?
more mental clarity, you get better quality sleep. So like I usually end up eating like around 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock. I used to go to bed at 10 o'clock. So at least 3 hours before going to bed, you should not consume anything. So it makes your gut perform better in the night. It makes your liver do the detoxifying rather than helping in the bile secretion and helping in digestion.
Yeah.
And specifically, sugars should not be consumed. Sugars anyway should not be consumed, but near sleep time. And so when you do intermittent fasting, it is better for your mitochondrial health, it is better for your gut health, it is better for your spleen health. So lots of things work around that.
Yeah, I've found that to be true in my own personal
The
experience.
next point in the fire body is sunlight. We touched about a little, and how being in synchronicities with your circadian and your spiritual rhythm gives you a lot of important things. So blue light blocking glasses. I'm not wearing one tonight. Today, it's in my chamber. I was seeing a patient, so I forgot, but that's okay. But otherwise, we should ideally live in with our synchronicities with our sun cycle. And like you are in another country, I am in another country, so it depends on what time the sun is rising here. And then, so for example, the earth time has 24 hours, but each body time, if you there have been experiments of keeping 50 people at a time in complete darkness, and all those 50 people had other than 24-hour clocks. Some people had 25-hour body clocks, some people had 24.5-hour body clocks. So if, and even more research shows that your liver has a different clock, your gut has a different clock, your brain has a different clock, your heart has a different clock. So each of your organs have a different clock, and you perform optimally if all your body clocks are synchronized to the natural earth time. So what happens when the first rays of the sun enter your eyes in the morning, it resets your clock, and the suprachiasmatic, the master clock in your brain, it aligns your body clock to the earth clock. And so that makes you perform optimally. There are some days where you feel groggy, and those are not aligned in the proper clock.
So when you wake up, get some sunlight in your eyes, obviously without sunglasses on, and blue light blocking glasses at night. Is there anything else people can do to help sync the circadian rhythm? I know food is a big one as well, right?
Important thing is catch the first hour of sunlight. So for example, ideal time to get up is like just before sunrise, at least 15-20 minutes where it is still dark and the sun rises in front of you, and take that one. So go outdoors in the first 1 to 2 hours of your life, maybe a walk, or take your dog for a walk, or run. I prefer run, but for other people can just, or maybe just go outdoors, nature therapy. That is the most important thing. And in the evening, if possible, try and see the sunset when the sun is going down. That is also a very important time to reset your clock, because the seeing the sunset, it triggers those melatonin receptors, and it builds up this adenosine, your sleep pressure, and it makes you more sleep better at night. And then once the sun is set, you should wear blue light blocking glasses. And even during the day when there is lots of devices, then you can also wear blue light blocking glasses. Not in the early morning and not during sunset. You should not wear any glasses. And other thing is, after sunset, you should try and wear the blue light blocking glasses to protect you from the harmful blue light.
Just while we're on the topic of circadian rhythm, you posted an Instagram reel about you went to Chicago for a speaking event, and you flew there, and then you did some networking, and then you went to bed and spoke for 2 days. You flew back to India and then performed surgery the next day. I think travel biohacking is something super interesting that a lot of people can find valuable. So how do you prepare for travel?
So this was my personal experiment this time also, because I've been to US a couple of times, and India going to the US, almost 12-hour time zone difference is a bit difficult to manage. This time, so one thing is mindset. Then I had obviously, and there is something called as red glasses also, not just the yellow glasses. And I have my sleep mask also. So I had planned everything during my flight, during my travel, was completely shut off my eyes with the eye mask for as per the Chicago time during my flight only. So I customed my jet lag or my sleep cycle during the flight only. As soon as my flight took off from Delhi, I prepared my body from Chicago time. I had my meals according to Chicago time. I slept according to Chicago time. The most important thing to biohack your jet lag or biohack your travel is avoid sugar again. Keep yourself extremely well hydrated. And I cannot not mention the molecular hydrogen, which is again because changing time zones is a lot of stress and inflammation on our bodies. Things like molecular hydrogen, it's a very important biohack for your cellular hydration, and that is again important. So again, keep your diet to minimum, simple, no sugars, hydration, clean. And then you can also add some supplements like melatonin. Obviously, like if I shut my eyes for 7 to 8 hours with a sleep mask also, I may not feel the sleep pressure. So to add the sleep pressure, I had melatonin, I had rhodiola, I had some other supplements to help me biohack. And so when I reached Chicago, I did an evening interaction at an event, And the next morning I woke up with sunrise. I went for my run, so that run also keeps syncs your rhythm back, circadian rhythm back. And then same thing on my way back. So hydration, cellular hydration is another very important key if you want to travel, if you want to biohack your travel or jet lag. And avoid sugars completely, avoids heavy meals during travel. That's the key takeaways.
Yeah, okay, interesting. And then on the way back, you then prepared yourself with hydration, meal timing to be for when you
Back
were
in
back
on
in
my way
India. Yeah.
back to India, I started as soon as my flight took off from Chicago. I started again eating as per India time. So during that 12-hour flight journey, it was actually 15 hours flight journey. I adjusted back to India time again, and again I scheduled my meals. You should always carry your sleep mask. You should carry your yellow glasses and your red glasses also. So I was reading close to bedtime with my red glasses on the flight.
Yeah, I think that'll help because a lot of people traveling and always complain about jet lag. So I think that those are some good tips that will help a lot of people. I want to jump into ancient practices in Ayurveda a little bit.
So, like Ayurveda is a beautiful technique, and again, it was when it is of the era of medicine 1.0 when there was herbal medicine, but it is persisted beautifully, and it brings that nature is the root causes of you can heal anything with nature things. And a lot of new supplements also like ashwagandha, like rhodiola, all are root medicines. So ancient India gives us a lot of tips and tricks. And the important thing is that in Ayurveda in India, when it was practiced, it was not science backed. So now a lot of companies are doing science backed research and publishing these things, and the things are working. I believe in Ayurveda, it is traditional science, and Ayurveda is healing through roots, healing through herbal medicines, and healing through things which don't cause side effects rather than pharmacological chemical medicines, which cause a lot of side effects and a lot of added inflammation. But the important thing is those supplements you should be taking from a trusted company so that they don't have additional heavy metals and other toxicities. Even Ayurveda studies say that adding curcumin is present in haldi, which is a root vegetable, and it is one of the most anti-inflammatory things which you can take for your body. But if you add a pinch of black pepper, it makes it more vitally absorbable for your body. That is again a Ayurvedic hack, but it is science backed also. And then a lot of oil techniques, oil massages, these are very popular in Ayurvedas. And again, it goes well with the contrast therapy techniques and the radiation therapy techniques which people use these days.
What do you see in the near future? Because you're obviously a surgeon, but with the advancements in AI and robotics, are you optimistic for the near future with a lot of advancements in technology for surgery? What does the future of surgery look like with AI?
I am very excited because of lack of time we couldn't dive into the quantum realm and some a little bit about flow state, but let's leave that for next time probably. But AI is going to be a game changer because again in this current era, AI in surgery, if you to say it'll be more precision surgery, more robotic instruments, and more precise surgery. And in medicine, I think again AI will play a big role because it will be like integrative health. What we are trying to do, for example, if I envision a future where person is walking to my clinic and everything will be accounted for: his blood reports, his nutrition status, his gut microbiome report, his hydration status, how much hours and what quality of sleep did he got last night, then what meditation practices does, how is his blue mind and red mind. So we all can AI again, as you know, is a data master. You can feed any data and it'll integrate in within seconds. So I think it's one of the most beautiful eras in our lives which we are living in, and I'm really excited to see what the future holds, but I'm very very optimistic about it.
I really like your whole protocol and paradigm when it comes to health and how it's more of an integrative thing with all of the bodies. And, you don't just focus on one area, it's a comprehensive thing. And, I think that's a very important way for people to start improving their health. Dr. Bansal, I don't want to keep you for too much longer. Where can people find you?
So anybody can find me on Instagram, and Instagram DM is the best way to stay connected. I do a lot of these medicine 3.0 consultations Actually, I have a consultation lined up just after this. And I do these consultations from all over the world. I have like some patients in Germany, Dubai, and lots of people across the globe. So this is I just, obviously I do the medical healing also, but I try to connect and guide the persons to their individualized approach as per these protocols, and when to do ice baths. There are some things which we couldn't cover because it's like this topic I can speak for a couple of hours actually.
Yeah.
There is, you need to work on your core body temperature to get better quality sleep, and lots of other things. But yeah, so people, I would be grateful if people can reach me on Instagram. That is a great way.
Yeah, we'll link everything down below. Look, Dr. Bansal, it's been a pleasure, and I hope that we can do this again at some point and dive further into everything else. And maybe when you have the fifth body set up, the quantum body, I'd be interested to dive into that. Thank you so much for joining me, and I appreciate you taking the time today.
Thank you so much. And I will leave you with a quote, which is my mantra, that is the go with the flow mindset. So I always say that longevity isn't about adding years to your life. It's about syncing your four bodies, your earth body, your water body, your fire body, and your air body, so that your life flows through it with coherence. And that's what we are detecting with the quantum biology, that coherence and aligning your frequencies to the frequencies of the universe, frequency of the life, is everything. So go with the flow and don't fight your biology, sync with it.
I love it. Dr. Bansal, thank you so much.
Thank you.